So this is part 2 of the DIY reverse osmosis system. Now this is the exact same unit that we built last week. What we're going to do right now is we're going to install it to just a standard sink right here and just use what we call a diverter valve indicated right here. So we're going to do some little modifications just to make this installation just a little easier to show and to show the results before and after reverse osmosis. So what we're going to do first is we're going to remove this particular T right here. Now, if you can remember correctly, we have a pre-carbon reverse osmosis membrane and a post-carbon. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to just color code these a little bit. I'm going to use red tubing to indicate that this is the pre-carbon filter, and all the water that's not treated is going to be going through the red. It'll be going through the reverse osmosis membrane. And then we're going to use a blue line right here, and that's going to indicate treated water. So after reverse osmosis process. Okay. Now, we're not going to be using a tank in this demonstration. So what we're going to do is we're going to bypass this T valve. Now, this T valve, this line typically would go to a tank to store the reverse osmosis water. Okay, but since we're not using it, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this out. And we're just going to bypass it completely. So now we're ready. So I'm going to put this aside. And we're going to take off this aerator here from the sink. Okay, should come off just that easy. You put it aside. And this is a compression fitting diverter valve. You can just go ahead and put it on. Now sometimes you need adapters. This particular time we're lucky enough that it works perfectly. So this is a spring action, meaning in order to divert the water to your reverse osmosis system, you're going to pull this pin and then turn on the water, and the water will divert from here to the unit. Otherwise, you can just turn it on and it'll work just like a regular aerator. Some people like leaving it on, some people don't. So anyways, we're going to take off this nut. We're going to take this red tubing and we're just going to slide it over the red tubing. Insert the tubing into the diverter valve. This is a 1/4 inch one. Okay. Tighten it up. And guess what? You are done for installation already. So what we're going to do now, okay, is we are going to test the water untreated first. So I just took literally some water from the sink, as you can see, and this is what we call a digital TDS meter. All right. Now, a digital TDS meter, what that means is TDS is short for total dissolved solids. What you want to have is after reverse osmosis is you want to have 10% or less of the tap water. So this is just a regular $10, $15 TDS meter. We're going to dip it in here. I don't know if you could see it from this angle, probably, but it says 437, 438. It kind of fluctuates a little bit, but it's roughly 430 to 440. So we want to be less than 44, as you can see. We want to be less than 44 after reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis does make, on average, 1:4 ratio, meaning 1 gallon of good water to 4 gallons of wastewater. That's the old standard. A lot of the newer membranes are getting much better in terms of waste management, waste ratios. Nowadays, you're getting some that are producing 1:2, 1:3, even 1:1 for that matter. So if you'd like, I can always give you guys some more information on where you can find those. So anyways, in the meantime, we're just going to go ahead and turn this on. I'm going to hold both lines just because I first off, the lines are short, and two, I don't really have a place to put it right now. So we're gonna run this real quick, okay? And when you divert the water, again, you're just gonna pull this, and it's gonna start going to the RO system. Now, if everything's installed properly, shouldn't have any leaks. Water should flow right through, and you're gonna start getting black immediately. This is all the carbon fines you get from the pre and post carbon. More so from the pre-carbon, if anything, right now. But anyways, you eventually will get water coming out of the blue line, which is the product line. So this water right here is gonna take maybe about 5 to 10 minutes before it actually clears out. Again, this is the waste line. Okay, the white is going to be the waste line. This is the product line. We don't have any production yet. We will in a few minutes. So right now, we're just going to wait this out. So the reason why we're getting this spatter now is just because it's starting to get back pressure. And it's starting to build pressure. And now we're getting, pretty soon, get some production. Okay, so we're finally getting some production. And as you can see, now it's all the post carbon. That's all the carbon fines right there. And if you get this is very, very normal. You're always going to have less flow coming out of the product line versus the waste line. Some people ask, can you use this this water here, the wasteline water, for, like, I don't know, watering your plants or whatever? Yeah, it's still good water. I mean, you're just probably not going to drink it, but otherwise it'll be fine. And if you're curious, we can actually test the water quality coming out of this. You have to excuse me, I'm one-handed right now, so I'm gonna leave that there. But the water quality coming out of this one, it's coming out to close to 700. Oh. So 600, 700, just depends on how long you leave it in there. But that's what you look like you're gonna be getting, 680 roughly. So what you want to do now is we're just flushing out this membrane. And pretty soon, right now, on the immediate moment, we're just going to flush this out. On the immediate moment, this water should not be consumed. So usually you have, with reverse osmosis membranes are usually treated, and they usually need to be flushed before usage. Okay, so this is our first run of the test. Not much water in there right now, but let's just test it real quick. And we're getting like 1800. So as you can see, there's a lot of things in there right now, and it really needs to be flushed. So flushing a reverse osmosis membrane is going to take anywhere between 5 and 10 gallons still, but again, that's probably going to be 2-3 hours maybe. So it's best to just let this cure and let it do its own thing. Come back to it when you're ready. In fact, we'll let this flush out and then we'll come back to it. But basically, you're really pretty much done when it comes to installing a diverter valve onto the unit. So when it comes to this, the waistline, you want to put this, I mean, depending on how you do it, they do have diverter valves where you can install the waistline back into the diverter. So it'll actually have, you know, your product line going, excuse me, your feed going this way, and then you'd actually have a second input right here for your waistline. So then the waste would literally just go down the sink, kind of like how it is right now, but you don't have to hold it. You can just literally just have it there. I find it really convenient. In fact, I'll put a link in there too to show you what it looks like and everything. But in the meantime, just let this flush, let this do its thing, and probably in about 2 hours we'll come back to it and we'll retest the water, and you'll see that the rejection rate of the product line is going to be much better. Okay, we're back. So it's been about a good 15 minutes. It's still flushing, but I kind of wanted to just speed up this process a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and read the current water quality. Okay, and this is coming out of the post filter. Now keep in mind it's only been 15 minutes and it's not pressurized. So the flow is, one, it's slow, and two, it's not getting a proper flush out of it. Usually want to flush these at a good half gallon to 1 gallon a minute for 10 minutes. But being at this slow pace, you're not going to get all the flushing out properly. But that's okay. We just want to check and see if it's working. Now, this number I'm expecting is going to be higher than what it should be, just because we're not at the proper flow rates. So right now we're currently at 98. Okay, so 98 parts per million, and that's coming out of tap water coming out of 450. Now remember, this is out of the post filter at a minimal flow rate. So if we give it enough time, it's going to get down eventually to the correct levels. But if you want to check immediately to see if your reverse osmosis system is working, you're going to pull the water coming immediately out of the reverse osmosis membrane, but before the post filter. So right here, I don't know if you can see it, but right here, this is the line. Oh, we'll turn this off real quick. But this is the line, if you can remember, this is the line going to the post filter, okay? And it's after the reverse osmosis membrane. So we're going to pull that. So now it's been disconnected, okay? So I'll put it back. And I'm going to put this drain back too, just to not splash myself. So I'm going to put it back on. Now this will give you a true reading of the water quality of a reverse osmosis. Again, it's only been like 15 minutes, so it's probably a little off, but I suspect it'll be at least 90% or better. And it's okay, we got enough good product water there, so we can kind of review that, because we just need to dip it in there. Now, as you can see, we're at 34 versus the tap water being at 440. So we are greater than 90% on the rejection rate. Now to get ideal ratings of like being like 94, 98%, you'd have to have a lot of ideal conditions. A lot of these membranes are rated for like 95, 96% if you look at the spec sheets. But in order to get ideal rates like that, you're going to have ideal conditions. So that's being 2 parts per million on the chlorine, soft water, 100 parts per million 70 degrees temperature, all these kinds of things need to be in place in order for you to get that kind of level of rejection. So anyways, as long as you're getting 90 or above, it means your system's working properly. You can put this back, and there you go. We're back to where we started. So if I let this run continuously for maybe like another half hour, we would get that same number coming out from the immediate RO line and the post filter being the exact same. It might be a little bit higher just because it's going through a post filter. So you might get something in addition that's coming out of the post filter. It could be some loose carbon fines, could be something, could be the acid wash itself. So you might get some hydrogen in there, or anything. So that being said, I mean, that's pretty much it. Now, if you want to have this go to a tank, you can do one of two things. You can put this T back, and you can put it back right here, okay, right at the feed, or you can put it back originally to where it was, which is right here. Okay, so this is going to the post filter, and that would be the original line. So if you watch the first video, you'll actually see that still. So if you have any questions, post a comment, send a message. I'm more than happy to help you out. Hopefully this helps you understand a little bit more about reverse osmosis. You should get better water quality coming out at a higher flow rate, especially on the immediate flushing of everything. So hopefully this answers all your questions. If you have any questions, just shoot an email or something, and we'll be more than happy to help you out.